Hello, hello. Hi, friends. I am so excited to be doing this webinar today. We'll give it a couple minutes as we've got quite a few people registered and quite a few of you excited to watch this on record. So hello to those of you who are not watching this real time with us. My name is Laura Munkholm, and I am the founder and president at Walla. And today we are going to be talking about the power of personalized communication. And we'll be talking about this in relation to Lagree Studios. So communication and nurturing that is specific to your type of fitness and why it's slightly different than other modalities and verticals within the fitness industry. So we'll be diving into some of our journeys in Walla and just doing an overview together. So let me pull that up. Okay. Give it just one more moment. Grab your coffee, your tea, your water. Okay. All right, well, we are going to get started in the interest of time. Again, for everybody just joining online, my name is Laura Munkholm, founder and president here at Walla. Thank you to all of you in the Lagree world who have embraced Walla and are leveraging so many of our tools that are helping with managing, especially studios that have relatively limited capacity. I know that is one of the challenges that Lagree studios encounter. Your spots are highly valuable, and you often have people that are dying to get them as early as they possibly can. So we've thought a lot about that as we've built our software, and hopefully those tools, the little nuances in our product help quite a bit. But today we are going to be talking about the power of personalized communication. So one of the things that I'm often asked about is how to not just sell to clients and sell to people leads that are coming in the studio, but what you should say to your clients over time as you've got clients who have maybe been a member for a couple months, or people who are on their first month of membership or on their new student special. What do you say to them to engage them, to make them feel like the content you send is valuable? How often should you communicate with them? I think we all have a fear of over communicating with our clients because we don't want to bother them. But one of the things we'll be talking about through this webinar is how much our clients absolutely want to hear from you and are very interested in what you have to say. This is something that they're spending time in their life doing. They're stepping into your business. They're engaging with your teachers. They're building relationships with other clients at the business. So you're not an ad sending junk to them. You're somebody that they have chosen to interact with. So they absolutely do want to hear from you. So let me pull up my deck. I'm going to be sharing some slides with you today just to guide the conversation. And then we'll be bouncing back and forth between that and the Walla site. So you can see practical application of how we can leverage some of the marketing tools, the communication tools in Walla. Okay, I will pull this up and then hit present. All right, so hopefully you guys can all see this now, and we will make this nice and big. Okay, so we are again talking about personalization, and we'll look at that through the lens of the fully integrated marketing platform that we have. First things first, I want to call out that many of you have had studios for a long time. The game has completely changed when it comes to communication with your clients, when it comes to what it takes to get people to walk through your door and to keep them long term. If you live in a large city, you probably have a ton of competition on every corner. And even if you don't have physical competition on every corner, you also have virtual competition. So anybody who has traditionally been in your ideal client profile lens. So let's say maybe your ideal client profile is women between the ages of 30 and 55 who have expendable income and are working parents. Maybe you've designed your perfect persona. I can promise you that individual is many businesses' perfect persona. So they are doing everything they can behind the scenes as well to make sure they get in front of their eyeballs, that they're in their ear, that their clients are talking about them. So yes, in fact, you are competing with a lot of other businesses. But the other thing you're competing with is the couch. Netflix, you're also competing with their kids' schedules and team sports and work and all of the other things they have going on in their lives. Our attention span has dramatically shrunk as a population. And so communication has become, I would argue, more important than ever. And if it is not personalized to the individual, the likelihood of that individual reading it, engaging with it, clicking on it, and actually taking action is pretty small. We already know that open rates on emails hover around 30%, which is, a sad fact, but true. Text messages are significantly higher, but we are, up against some pretty tough odds when it comes to communication. So one of my goals in this webinar is to give you some things that will allow you to really, really hone in on what makes the personal experience for each individual and tailor your communication to the person. The other thing that's a challenge for Lagree Studios is that you have a hard sell. Lagree is tough. The workout you're asking people to do is really challenging. Your videos on social media are of people's legs shaking uncontrollably. It honestly, from the outsider's perspective looking in, can look like torture. So it's hard for us to think about it sometimes like that because we're all such advocates. We love the workout. We understand the feeling, the euphoria after you finish an amazing class. People that have never stepped in a Lagree studio before probably think we're a little crazy. The world wants easy. They want quick solutions. There is a reason all of like Ozempic and so many of these drugs are coming out to solve a problem when it comes to weight loss. People want a quick fix. And at the end of the day, we all know that quick fixes never last and are not going to solve a problem at the root. So our goal in the early communication is to get them over the hurdle of this is too hard for me. The last thing I like to think about is how much it matters to keep your clients. So it is more lucrative, frankly, to keep your clients for longer than having to constantly find new ones. It costs money to find new ones. You have to train staff. You have to spend a lot of time and energy building the right communication, creating the right deal funnels. So it is much less expensive and more lucrative for the business to keep people long-term. But to keep people long-term, you have to start on the right foot. So we are going to dive into some of the different ways that we can communicate and different methods, both automated and via our automation tools in Walla and via staff, front desk staff. Okay, so let's talk first about automation. We don't have 10 people working for us on sales all day long at studios. Most of the time, the people interacting with your clients are your teachers. Perhaps you have a manager, maybe you have a VA, an admin, or a sales admin that's going to be helping you stay in touch with clients or nurture leads. But for the most part, we aren't flush with staff that can be manually calling and texting all of our clients all the time. We understand that, and we have created a system in Walla through our marketing suite that allows you to automate things at very specific moments in time. So, it's always going to be important to welcome people in, to nurture them to make a purchase. But the goal of this marketing suite being under one roof with our software system is that we are a single source of truth for all of the data. That means we can get really, really granular on that specific client's behavior and send the right message to them at the right time automatically. That can be via text, that can be via email. But what's important is that it's happening at the right moment. And I think what we miss oftentimes when we either do this manually or use just kind of a generic MailChimp or something like that to send the same newsletter out to everybody or the same automated welcome email from the system to everybody is that we start actually ignoring those emails as consumers. One time I actually did a quick search in my Google, and you guys can do this. Go into your Gmail if you're an advocate or a kind of enthusiast of boutique fitness. Just go type in "we miss you" into your Gmail. The number of emails I had that were exactly the same copy, exactly the same with just a different logo of a different studio on them were unbelievable. Most businesses, most software companies outside of Walla only have automated messages that will go out at 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Some of them have a year, but they're always around those times. And I don't know who decided that was the magic number, but they all send then and they all send the same message. So think about that. As consumers, we've just gotten trained to be like, oh, yeah, another one of these. Nothing about those communications sticks out to us and makes us feel like the business cares about us at all. At the end of the day, we just want to feel special as consumers, and we want to know that we mean something to this business. So how can we do something about that? We created what are called journeys in Walla. So it's not about one email or one text to everybody. We're in this for the long-term relationship. So that means spending time to build multiple touch points that are very, very detailed to the individual and make sure that they are sent when it matters at critical moments in the client journey. So you can see here, we've got a quick sample of an intro offer 3-pack. So this is somebody who is on an intro offer, and granted, there are different touch points we'll be going through, but most of the time we suggest over a month period with a new client, a minimum of 7 touch points, which might sound a little crazy to some of you, but actually that's what the consumer expects from you. There's always going to be some sort of a welcome. We absolutely want to have a congrats on your first class. It can be as simple as like a quick 3-word text to the individual. It doesn't have to be a long email, but making sure that there are touch points. Now, all of these do not have to be automated. In fact, I would say they shouldn't be. Some of them should be at the front desk, over a phone call. Perhaps it's even a card that's mailed to the client, but we want to make sure we're staying in touch with them enough. So let's go into the 5 primary journeys that we suggest and that we've seen a lot of success with in some of our clients. So as a reminder, it is not just, oh, did that just help you guys? Hopefully that made the view a little bit better. It's not just about short-term wins. So when we look at a lot of the journeys our clients create or that I receive as a consumer, oftentimes they're always focused on asking the consumer to buy something from you. Like, hey, you've got 3 days left, buy now. And that's the only time I hear from them throughout my intro offer period. Or, welcome, thanks for creating an email, buy now. There is very little focus on adding value and much more focus on selling. And that's why as consumers, we've become so callous to the type of communication businesses send. So your job as a studio, and especially a studio that has a challenging workout to offer, is to make sure it sounds and feels different and that you're giving before you ask from the customer. All right, so let's go through the 5 primary journeys. Number 1, a lead nurture journey. So whether you're using our lead forms in Walla, ads with lead forms in Meta, you're doing an event and collecting leads and manually adding them into the system, you are getting people into your system who haven't made a purchase yet or who haven't gotten into the studio yet. People have high intent at different moments, and then sometimes that intent wanes. So it's really critical to hit people as soon as they are feeling the excitement. So with a lead nurture journey, you want to make sure as soon as a lead form is submitted to the business, they are getting a welcome text, email, something from you. I highly recommend an initial welcome text and then following it up with a welcome email that same day. The email can have a lot more content in it. And in fact, your welcome email is going to be the most read. The highest percentage of people will read your welcome email than any other email you send throughout the journey. So in that email, teach them something. Teach them something about you as a business. Why is Lagree a great idea? I mean, we know that there's an intimidation factor here. So how can we prove there's a bit of ease? Well, what is there that's easy about Lagree? I mean, frankly, the workout, nothing. But it's short. I mean, when we talk about comparing to hour or hour and 15 workout at another facility, you're going to have probably a better experience, burn as many calories, whatever the sell is at your business, but you're going to be doing it in a condensed period of time. Now, I would argue part of the reason your ideal customer profile should include working parents is that is absolutely the type of person who needs a quick workout. I fall into that category. I am a Lagree practitioner. The 100% number one reason I tried Lagree was because the studio down the street from me had 40-minute classes, and I simply could not fit an hour-long fitness class into my day anymore. Or I just didn't want to get up at 5 a.m. and do it. I wanted to do it at 6 a.m. and I could do it at 6 a.m. if there was a 40-minute class. So what are the perks? What are the things that make this feel like, oh my gosh, I can't not do this, and talk about it in that first welcome email? And of course, yes, you can have a call to action button at the bottom that says, snag our new student special here, or book your first class now. If you are with Walla, the book your first class is the best way to go because that's going to take people through purchasing the new student special anyway. We always nudge people into that new student special funnel. All right, so I would say until you have somebody make a purchase, you're going to want to have every other day touch points for the first week. After a week, if they have not taken any action, you can move to weekly and just say, okay, we get it. Maybe the time's not right now, but here's what's going on at the studio. Would you like to book a class this week? So keep at it. People definitely have motivation come and go, and you want to make sure you catch them at the moment of intent. Okay, so let's take a break there for just a moment, and I want to make sure I answer any questions if we have them. Especially for those of you who are kind of opening new businesses or starting with a marketing suite for the first time. So just give me a shout if you have any questions along the way. Otherwise, I will continue going. Hi, guys. All right, let's jump back in. So next, we're going to be moving on to our new client kind of welcome. So they've purchased your new student special. They have decided, I'm going to step in the door of the studio. Now, there are a few critical moments in this new student journey, and we want to make sure the first one is prepping them for their first class. So you guys know, I know grippy socks are important. People always feel uncomfortable if they forget that. So please make sure you highlight the things that are going to remove any kind of embarrassment or intimidation factor when they come in the studio. Parking, anything that might be just out of the ordinary or not make the experience obvious. Call those out, make them big. Sometimes I see studios that add little GIFs or memes into their emails to call attention to different areas. I think that's a great idea. People's eyes will be caught and they'll pay attention to those that might otherwise be missed in a bullet point. So before they walk in the studio, before their first class, they're booked in. So make sure you send something 24 hours before. That education part is going to be really, really helpful. And be honest, the class is going to be a little bit tough. So be ready to sweat, but also be ready to smile and have a great time and jam to some great music. So this intro offer sequence, again, depending on what your intro offer is, can be 2 emails long, can be 5 emails, text messages, could be 10. But you do want to make sure you get very granular on this. And I've got another slide talking about how important granularity is. But we want to make sure there is an automation set up for ghost clients. So if you're using the Walla Marketing Suite, you'll be able to say, I want to send this to anybody who purchased my new student special 5 days ago and still has 0 visits. So we call those ghost clients. They haven't shown up yet. We need to give them a nudge to get in the door, to remind them that they purchased this, and to encourage them to get started. Then you can have automation set up for the high users, the people who are, maybe your new student special is 2 weeks long and they've already come in 4 or 5 times. Fantastic. Those are people who you know are likely to be your members. How can you cheer them on, high five them, and make sure you're not trying to sell them something too soon? You can set them up with the information about how your membership works. That's fine. But you don't want to be shoving a sale down their throat when they're just getting started and having fun in the meantime. Share testimonials, talk about how great they're doing, talk about the long-term benefits, and absolutely make sure that you do that in person as well. So this is the automated side of it, but make sure you pull that into the in-person. And you'll be able to see that in Walla because next to their name is the number of visits that they've had at the studio so far. And if you see someone's on a new student special and they're at 5 visits already, awesome. Your teachers and front desk staff should be high-fiving them. Now, you also want to have automations for the low users. So distinguish those two. Don't send the same email to someone who's come 5 times and someone who's come once in their 2 week special. That person that came once probably had a really tough experience. And it might take a personal call. It might take more than just an automated text message to get them to book again. Maybe life just got busy and it would be helpful for you to extend their intro offer period by a few days so they could get back in. But we want to make sure we're talking to them in a different way because they are clearly having very different experiences with your business. Now, as you wrap up the intro offer time period, you do need to have a call to action with options. Again, the one time in 2 weeks versus the 5 times, 6 times, 7 times in 2 weeks, you may have a different offer for them. I wouldn't be selling your 12 times a month unlimited membership to the person who came once or twice. Maybe offer them a 5 pack. So the call to action in that email or text message can be linking them to a 4 times a month membership. Seems like once a week might be great for you. Awesome. Here you go. For the person that came a bunch, here's the best deal we have on our new student or our first month of membership. Do you want to dive in here? So make sure that you're not pushing the same product to 2 totally different consumers of your business. Okay, so once you've got that down, we're going to move into new member engagement. New member engagement is as important, if not more important, than the intro offer sequence. This is such a moment in time for somebody who has made the decision to spend quite a bit of money, probably, with your business. They're probably starting to feel the benefits already of the movement and the modality on a reformer, on a megaformer. Um, and maybe they're feeling more confident. So now is about telling the story of what the end game looks like. How can you start to share testimonials, client stories, continue education? One of the studios that I've gone to had a fantastic sequence that talked about after, I can't remember the exact details, but it was after one class, you'll feel a difference. After 2 classes or after 3 classes, um, you'll feel confident. After 10 classes, you'll see the difference in your body. And I was like, oh, well, hell yeah, I'm going to get to 10 classes. I want to know what that's like. And their new student special was 3 classes. So everybody could get to the 3 class milestone, but I really wanted to get to that 10. So their whole deal through their intro offer sequence was telling me, okay, cool. Like now it's time to purchase to get to the 10 classes. But as soon as I bought that new membership, it was nudging me through every single week of, okay, great, you're doing awesome. Like, way to come. So they must have had it set up where it was anybody who came 3 times or more in a week or 2 times or more in a week. And I was getting communication cheering me on along the way and also helping me with ideas to make this a part of my daily life. In Walla, we do have personality typologies, so we give you lots of information about how to communicate specifically with those personality types. And you can gear all of your communication towards givers in a way where maybe you send 5 extra emails in a month to givers because they want that communication. They want the cheerleading. Your thinkers are going to want to know the science and the details and the data behind why it makes sense to move forward. Your Mavericks don't really want to hear from you a lot. They kind of want some social proof, so they're, not wasting their time. They want to make sure this isn't a waste of time, but really they want to know how this contributes to their life outside of the studio. Like, why is it that doing Lagree is going to help them surf better or whatever it might be? And then your doers just want goals. I'm a doer. Of course, I wanted to get to the 10 classes. That is my personality type. That's what I'm always going to be focused around, is give me a goal and I'll get there. So you can use that in your new member engagement. And again, new member engagement should be curated by high users and low users. So if you've got somebody in their first month of membership that signed up for a 12 times a month membership and only came 4 times, you are at a very high risk of churning that client. What can you be doing to make sure that that person is nurtured, is taken care of? Maybe they got injured, maybe they had a bad experience with a new teacher. Automations are one part of this, but you also should be watching this on the back end of your system. And I'll jump into Walla momentarily, but with Walla's audiences, you'll be able to find those people. So we could say people who are purchased a new or a membership 30 days ago and in the last 30 days have fewer than 4 visits. Perfect. You have your list of people that your staff should be literally picking up the phone and calling by the end of that first month, because otherwise you are going to lose them. Continue education, continue sharing opportunities to stay connected with the community. I highly, highly encourage doing easy, fun community events. They don't have to be expensive. It can be a tarot card reading night or a fun wine taste, like blind wine tasting. You can just have coffee and tea set up outside of the studio, or green juices after classes on Saturday or Sunday, so that people hang out and talk to each other a little more. There is literally an endorphin high that happens after exercise, and especially after group exercise, where it's been scientifically proven that people are more apt to trust each other and to want to communicate. So when they're not in a rush to get kids to school or off to work, weekends are a great time to have some sort of after class event or even just connection point over coffee. All right, the last 2 journeys are pretty variable based on your business, but win-backs are going to be important. If you have somebody who purchases something once and doesn't purchase it again, you want to know why. I absolutely think this is a combination of phone calls and automations. In the automations, it's not only about the money. Most people that decided to purchase your membership or dive on board are probably not struggling with the money aspect of this. They're struggling with the commitment part of it. So how can you make them feel like this is approachable for their life? Is it giving them ideas on how to pre-book their classes ahead of time and stack habits, right? Like maybe they have, I want to get up early every day, and take a class. Perfect. Pack your bag the night before, book your class the day before, have it ready to go, have your smoothie ordered, whatever it might be that stacks everything on top of each other so it takes the work and the decision-making off their plate that day. Fantastic. You can suggest books that can help them with creating a habit. But those win-back emails, I would encourage you, don't only lean on the deal, also lean on how you can help them with the commitment. And then there's milestones. On win-back, please do not only make them at 30, 60, and 90 days. I would start at 5 days. I would start somewhere in between 5 and 30 days. And then I would go from there until about 45 days weekly. And after 45 days or so, a month and a half, somebody hasn't come to your studio, maybe hit them up monthly, but you don't have to wait every 6 months, or every 30 days to reach out to someone at the beginning. I think it's a really critical window early on. I encourage you guys to celebrate milestones, because milestones are such a fun win, especially for the doers and the givers in your community. Make it a weird milestone. I mean, I know a lot of businesses have a 100 club or a centurion club or something like that to get to 100. Is there something unique? Is there like your area code on your phone numbers, or something about your address, or something that can make it a funky number? Like I know in some yoga studios, they do 108. Play around with it. Make a fun number. Make the goal 50. Make the goal 75. Make the goal 90. 100 is also fantastic. You can always do that. And that's going to get your clients, sticking with it for a long time. But it's not the hard and fast rule that everyone has to do. Celebrate the small wins when they get to 10 classes, when they get to 20 classes. And again, having the milestones in the software is such a helpful way to be able to make them feel special in person too. Okay, I'm going to jump into the software really quickly so that you guys can see some of this in action. As I was mentioning before, we want to bring the human aspect of this into the equation as well. So I would suggest leveraging audiences to create a list of people for your staff to reach out to manually. So you can see here, I've got quite a few that have been made over time. But one that I love leaning on is my guest passes. So anybody who's brought a guest into the studio, I want those people to get a phone call. Yes, they'll probably get an automation, but I want to have a personal thank you to that person from coming to the studio. If you don't happen to have their phone number, then you can always just send them an email. But when we go in to create a journey a list of these people, we want to see people who have exactly one visit anytime with a guest pass. And this can be a staff's job to view this list of contacts every week. And they can go through it. Maybe you add the filter in there instead of anytime, it's just in the last 7 days. And then they get a list of all of these folks and they can send them a note directly from this. The other thing that you can do with with audiences is, really leverage these to create task lists. So perhaps your staff member goes in and says, you know what, okay, once a week, I'm going to add a task of call all guests or email all guests. And weekly guest check-in. And it's for myself. And I'm going to link to this audience. So I'm going to link to guest pass. And then when I'll assign a due date for myself of Friday and end of the day. So now I've got a task for myself on my list, and that will take me to the guest pass audience. I can set notes for myself like, hey, Sarah was really interested in membership when she was in for the class, but you can create whatever you'd like and see your task list for the day. Okay, going into the Marketing Center, I'm just going to show you a couple of the journeys here that we've built. First off, we do have some pre-built ones. So we have an intro offer nurture sequence that is designed to connect 3 times with people during your intro offer. This is, essentially was built off of a week-long intro offer. So we've got a welcome, a midpoint for people that have come in versus not come in. Actually, it's 4 touch points. And then a final contact before expiration. So this is a couple days before it expires, when they're 80% of the way through. And then after the plan ends, this is more for if the client hasn't made a subsequent purchase, we've got 2 more touch points to go out to them. So this is pre-built for you. You can change the copy. You can add text message if you want to. But if you'd like to make something a little more structured towards your specific intro offer, you can come in and do that here. I'm going to show you a new lead nurture just so you can see how to start the process on a new lead nurture. I've created the first one based off of one of the lead forms in Walla. So you can see here, I have contacts who do not have a plan. They've never owned a plan before. They don't have any future bookings or wait lists. And they they filled out my new lead nurture form today, exactly 0 days ago. So that's my audience there. And I can edit this if I wanted to add something like this person is a giver as well, or, this person is a thinker. I could do that here, but you can see lead form completed. You can select your specific form. Let's see, I'm going to go down to personality, giver. And now this is going to be an email or a text message specifically to my givers. This one I have set as a text message. We're so excited to have you come in for class. Any questions about the different styles we offer? Happy to jump on and chat if that's easier for you. So for you guys, a text message might be perfect as that quick welcome, but maybe do it as an email and a text. And then the email is a little bit more robust and talks about how you can bust through 45 minutes, no problem. Like you learn to love the shakes or whatever it might be that kind of breaks down the intimidation factor. And you can always use AI to write the email for you. This can do it in a bunch of different moods depending on what your brand is. And you'll get some really interesting copy ideas. So I highly recommend it. It will save you a lot of time. Okay, so the great news too is that with these automations or with these conditions, you can also send another one to anybody who, click on this, anybody who didn't open this after a week. So we've got this resend email one. So from this journey, I want to see people from this specific journey send this email exactly, X number of days after the previous one to all clients who have either not opened but not clicked, or you can create an audience of people who have opened and clicked the email but still not come in for a class, because those are the people that are like right on the edge of doing it. So the functionality is there to make sure that you don't miss a moment with any one of your clients. So new lead journey, I would just keep nudging them until they purchase, at least for the first few weeks. We want to make sure we're going to grab that intent back. But you can create as many journeys as you'd like in Walla. I've got a member welcome series that's customized based on personality type. You can see I have a lot of touch points in here. I've got 100 days still active. This is the people that have been with us for a while. Keep talking to your members. At 100 days, you could say, I want to send an email to people who have been here for 600 days and have over 50 visits in their lifetime. They're going to get a very different email than people who have come 5 times in their lifetime. And it's really up to you to use your brand voice and kind of tell the story that's going to help nudge that person along to, come in for more classes. But the person who's come more than 50 times, it's really more of a, hey, like we're buds now. This is family. You come all the time. You know the ins and outs. Like maybe it's a request for a review on Yelp, or perhaps it's an invitation to a coffee date with like a member coffee date. But point is, you want to talk to people in a way that represents and reflects their engagement with the business. Okay. All right. Any quick questions before I hop back to the slide deck? Awesome. Okay. So just quickly mentioning again, get crazy granular. The more specific you are to the person's actual behavior, the more likely you are to have them engage with your email or text message. So look at how many people are in the audience. If it's thousands, you're probably not granular enough. If it's hundreds, depending on how big your business is, maybe. But you want to make sure that you are talking to a very specific audience of people. Last thing I just want to cover here is that newsletters and scheduled emails have a place in the communication, the engagement strategy. I would highly recommend dividing your newsletters up into 2 different audiences, one that are clients who have visited the studio in the last 3 months, and one that are clients who haven't. So you can have a different call to action or different languaging for each one of those groups. People want to know what's going on at your business. Again, they've chosen to be a client of your Lagree studio, and they want to feel like they're a part of something. So this particular group really doesn't want to feel like they're missing out on something. And if they come in and hear a bunch of clients talking about how they went to the tarot card reading at your studio last week and they didn't know about it, they'll be bummed. And at the end of the day, you're building a community as much as you're building a fitness studio. So newsletters can have a lot to do with it. I also think newsletters are a great opportunity to showcase your core values as a business. And in my experience, I think this is an area of opportunity for Lagree Studios. There's a lot of focus around the intensity, the fun, the like high energy. But how do you, as your business, specifically operate? And from a core values, from a mission perspective, what makes you different? And that is what's going to build loyalty when somebody feels that throughout their client experience with you. So newsletters have a way to do that. You maybe one of your core values is being community driven and giving back to the community. Cool. You can spotlight a nonprofit or have a nonprofit corner in your newsletter. Perhaps one of your core values is all about innovation. Awesome. Talk about the new heart rate monitors or playlists or how you're doing something innovative with the new megaformers or mega pros. I'm just giving a couple of examples, but share your values and then let those be reflected in your newsletters. And I think monthly newsletters are fantastic. Okay. Lastly, just as far as other ways to stay connected to your clients, as I showed you before, leveraging tasks in Walla to really remind your staff to touch base with people personally, whether it be with phone calls or personal text messages, that's fine. Maybe even handwritten letters. We have fantastic app announcements in Walla. So anything that you think is important, happenings in the studios, again, your core values, maybe there's a new teacher, a new class, or it could be just a class that's struggling with attendance. Maybe your 10:30 a.m. classes have been struggling lately. Spotlight them and talk about the new playlist that's been designed for that class. Make it an app announcement, and it's going to be the first thing your clients see when they open their app. Push notifications. One thing I want to call out is we are actually going to be releasing some funnel functionality in Walla soon. So you'll be able to have a visual of moving people through the client journey. But ultimately, our intention with Walla software is to make sure that you have got a really close eye on each individual as they move through their experience with you. We want your clients to feel like they're seen, they feel special, and that they're not just a number and blending in with the crowd. So we're trying as much as possible to highlight things on the roster, like their milestones, their personality type, any roster notes, so you can have like special requests or things about each client. But don't be shy about leveraging tasks and just in general reaching out personally. Nothing goes further than personal connection. All right, guys. I am so grateful to all of you who spent time with us today, and I am happy to answer any questions. For those of you watching this on record, if you come up with any questions about our marketing suite, or perhaps you're not using our marketing suite yet, feel free to reach out to sales@hellowalla.com and we can give you a tour through the product in a little more detail. Or if you'd like, if you have any questions on how it works, you can reach out to support@hellowalla.com, especially for those of you that have the marketing suite right now and are interested in building some more detailed or granular journeys. We can certainly help you out with that. Thanks so much. Appreciate your time and good luck connecting with your clients.